there was a stretch there, and you guys were so hot with the 36 points in the quarter there, and you're just running up and down the court. Was it as much fun as it looked like to people watching it?
Yes.
When the Indiana Fever put up 101 points against the Dallas Wings, it was far more than just another regular season win. It was a statement. Aliyah Boston and Caitlin Clark made sure the league heard it loud and clear. Their post-game interviews were charged with confidence, laced with subtle jabs, and packed with unexpected remarks that are now fueling major conversations.
Another in the WNBA. It is also only Caitlin Clark's third game back from injury, and this season for the Indiana Fever has been a roller coaster ride. There has been ups, there has been downs, there has been times that we have been so confused on what is actually going on with this team. And I'll start off by saying I feel like this was one of their best games as far as playing Fever basketball.
First off, can we talk about how different this Fever team looks now? Not long ago, people were doubting whether Caitlin Clark's college dominance would carry over to the pros. Fast forward to her second year, and those doubts seem almost ridiculous. She just dropped 13 assists and tied her career high with 5 steals, and yet, she still wasn't satisfied with her performance.
Caitlin, I believe you hit the first shot you took today. Kind of deep sigh of relief, but what is it like to get out of the shooting slump, but also beyond that, just see the playmaking overall from you down the line, so you threw out your entire team, 30 assists tonight?
Yeah, I mean, I still probably didn't shoot it as good as I would have liked, but I feel like it's coming. Just trying to continue to get my legs under me, and like I said pregame, like I feel like I'm a couple shots away from like having a really good game. So
I still probably didn't shoot it as good as I would have liked, Clark said with that trademark blend of confidence that either fires you up or makes you roll your eyes. Only someone operating at an elite level could critique their own shooting after helping power a team to 30 total assists. But honestly, the audacity is kind of refreshing, especially in a league where players often play it humble and downplay their own brilliance.
Good game. So, but I mean, I thought my playmaking was really good. There was, no reason for me to really shoot that much. I thought, like, you look at the box, like 12 shot attempts, 11, 9, 9, 8, 7, 6, like just very balanced. And, people executed. And when we have, 5 people in double figures, like, I feel like we're going to be pretty hard to beat. Like, it would take a lot for a team to beat us. And I think we were just kind of firing on all cylinders, moving the ball well, getting to the next action, played out a pick and roll well.
But Clark's honesty about her shooting points to something deeper within this Fever squad. They're not just stacking wins. They're building something sustainable. When your star player is more dialed in on team assists than her own shooting percentages, it's a clear sign the culture has taken a dramatic turn from where this franchise was just 2 seasons ago.
Where have you seen, especially the second half of the last game, going into such a strong first half tonight, and then you're able to keep your foot on the gas? Where do you feel like the biggest change, or I guess change, has been to really be so dominant and consistent offensively as a group?
Honestly, I think it starts on the defensive end. We talk about that all the time, just making sure that we get stops, because we like to play fast, we like to get the ball up and go in transition, and so we knew that we just had to make sure that we were focused on that end and make sure that we're connected on the defensive end, and then that sparks our...
Boston's response to questions about looking stronger and faster was pure gold. "I don't think so," she said, casually brushing off what everyone else can plainly see. She's clearly in the best shape of her pro career, moving like someone who spent the entire offseason preparing for this exact moment, and yet she acts like it's nothing. That's the kind of quiet, unshakable confidence championship teams are built on.
You've had a couple strong seasons, but is there some kind of secret sauce to your success right now? You just look a lot stronger and a lot faster.
No, I don't think so. I think just making sure that I was ready to come in. Obviously, playing with the sprinter over here, she likes to get up and down. I think going into this year, I knew that a lot better than coming into my last year. And so for me, I think I was just prepared.
The chemistry between Boston and Clark has reached a level that should genuinely concern the rest of the league. When Clark said, "There was no reason for me to really shoot that much because of how balanced the scoring was," she wasn't just praising good basketball, she was describing a team that has figured out how to elevate each other. 12 shot attempts in a game where she completely dictated the tempo isn't passivity. It's a sign of a player who understands that winning means more than stats. But let's talk about the elephant in the room, their comments about Paige Bueckers. Coach Stephanie White's take on the rookie was laced with respectful undertones, the kind of acknowledgement that only comes when a young player has truly earned a veteran's attention. "She just stays neutral, she doesn't get rushed." White said a line that feels like both praise and a league-wide scouting alert. What's even more telling is how Clark and Boston responded to questions about Bueckers. There was no trace of condescension, No typical rookie brush-off. Instead, they offered a cool, measured respect, the kind that says they recognize Buchers as a real threat to the league's balance of power. Whether that's maturity or strategic messaging, honestly, it's probably both.
Shot making, but defensively, tied your career out with 5 steals tonight. Ooh. How do you think that first one, though, I think it might have been on page, but just coming across court, you get it, and how do you think that set the tone for the rest of the defense throughout the game?
Yeah, well, I knew my team was ready, and Trappy on the sideline, so kind of just made a read. I saw she was going to throw it to her post player, and was able to get my hand on it, and then got a few deflections out of guard-to-guard switches. So I think just being active, I can be a really good defender when I choose to, and when I work really hard on it, and not conserve energy. So I'm proud of myself in that regard, and I think that probably motivates our offense. Like when I bring a tenacity on the defensive.
Clark's defensive performance deserves a spotlight of its own because it directly confronts one of the most persistent criticisms of her game. 5 steals and 7 deflections aren't flukes, they're the product of intentional effort and growth. I can be a really good defender when I choose to and when I work really hard on it, Clark admitted, which, in classic Clark fashion, is both brutally honest and refreshingly self-aware. She's basically saying she's coasted on defense before, but now she's making a conscious decision to lock in. That admission reveals something deeper. Clark isn't just reacting out there, she's managing her energy, reading the flow of the game, and choosing her moments. For a second-year player, that level of self-control and situational awareness is rare. She's not inconsistent, she's calculating. That's not a flaw, that's high-level basketball IQ. Boston, on the other hand, made it clear where this team draws its strength. It starts on the defensive end, she said, a phrase that might sound like a cliché until you consider the numbers. 23 points off turnovers. This isn't just a team that values defense, in theory they're weaponizing it. Defense isn't just a phase of the game for the Fever, it's their launch pad.
It's 13 assists for you and then 30 assists as an entire team. Mm-hmm. What was working so well with you seeing the floor and just the entire team?
Yeah, 30 assists on 40 made shots is about as good as it's going to get. That's really impressive, and I think it just shows the selflessness of this group. Is you're just trying to find your teammate, trying to get to the next action, trying to give up a good shot for a great shot, and just really proud of this group of how we share the ball, and makes us really hard to guard, like I've said. So that's something that Steph always preaches, and something she always talks about is, how many of our field goals are assisted. So we're always looking for high numbers there.
The stat everyone's been talking about, 30 assists on 40 made field goals, isn't just impressive. It's historically elite. Teams that share the ball like that don't just win games, they force opponents to completely rethink their game plans. When 5 players score in double figures, you can't key in on 1 or 2 stars. You're not trying to stop individuals, you're trying to stop a system. And most teams simply aren't built for that. What makes this even more remarkable is how little time the Fever have had to build that system. Coach Stephanie White pointed out that they've only played 3 games with their full roster and haven't had any real practice time together. So either this team has a natural, almost intuitive chemistry, or their collective basketball IQ is way higher than anyone gave them credit for. Then there's Clark, casually saying she feels just a couple shots away from having a really good game after dropping 13 assists, 5 steals, 7 deflections, and shooting efficiently. Depending on your perspective, that's either concerning or terrifying. Because if this isn't her at her best, then the ceiling is far higher than anyone expected, and she clearly believes she hasn't reached it yet. And Boston? Her transformation hasn't gotten nearly the attention it deserves. She looks like someone who trained all off-season with a specific purpose, to match Clark's tempo and thrive in it. She's not just stronger and quicker, she's strategically conditioned to excel in a system built on pace, precision, and relentless pressure. This version of the Fever isn't just exciting, they're evolving into something potentially era-defining.